Charlene Francois here, and we are at the launch of the Kojo Baden C-Word project.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin De La Rosa. I'm the proprietor of Main Culture Hairdressing Salon in Mead.
Thank you, Kevin.
From Trinidad and Tobago.
Nice. Like that. Janet, would you just tell us your name and kind of what role you play in making it?
Hi everyone, my name is Janet Clark, and I work for Macmillan Cancer Support, and I'm a communities manager. I do a lot of work in the community, in particular the African Caribbean community, and I've been working with barbers and hairdressers, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a little while.
Amazing. Yes, that's fantastic. One of the things I've found in the work that I've done and why I've created the model that I have is that when you're trying to get people to have conversations about things that they're already upset about, things that they find difficult, whether they've experienced that thing themselves directly or whether they've experienced it vicariously, whether it's happening to them now or previously, is that you got to add something to make a difference. You've got to go to where they already are. People openly have conversations in hairdressers and barbershops, and it's a little bit therapeutic. I'm sure you will agree. So Kevin, let's start with you. How did this all get started? I came to an event. How did that start?
Right, it's a group of friends. We started talking one evening after work and stuff, and we came up with the idea of getting our community together. Not just for the reason health. We've done different things before. We spoke about doing different things also with the young people about that stuff. So the first thing we addressed was giving the opportunities for young people who wasn't even doing too well at their schoolwork and still provide certificates to them at the end of the season to build them up, motivate them so that they can go forward the next time. And then we started from that point, and then we went into health.
What was it that made you think that health would be an important topic to hold in your barbershop?
Alright, so we had so many customers coming in with different problems at times. You know, they feel so ashamed to speak about it, but yet still on a one-on-one they would open up to you and let you know what's going on. And some of them didn't know how to really make the step to go to the GP and really have a conversation about how they feel and stuff. So we try to get them involved in our circles and take it from that point on.
I've been working at Macmillan for nearly 4 years, and when I first joined Macmillan, I did notice that there wasn't that many resources with images of black women, or maybe black men but not black women. And I decided, looking at the data, black women from African, Caribbean and Asian backgrounds were being diagnosed with breast cancer at stage 4 compared to their white counterparts. And I wondered what the reason was. Did a bit more digging, and it was because of their access to healthcare and the way they were treated. It might have been unconscious biases, racial profiling. One woman said to me that when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, it's normal to ask questions when you are going to see a consultant, and they were told that they were being too aggressive. This is one of the things that they stereotype black women about in terms of being aggressive. And the information wasn't really available. They didn't understand some of the medical jargon, so I decided to work with hairdressers. As a black woman, I like going to the hairdressers. I've had the same hairdresser for 20 years.
Wow.
It's an intergenerational thing. We talk about lots of things. We talk about our children, family, relationships.
And I am with the lovely
Kevin De La Rosa.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm good. I'm a bit tired. Just had a coffee, but I'm a bit awake now. Thank you.
Nice.
So, how are you finding the C-Word project? This is the launch today. So, how are you finding it so far?
I find it amazing. It's opening to us, the black community, and there's a lot of information is going to be flowing and is flowing at this present time, which is good information for our population as we go forward from this point on.
So this project is all about Black and African Caribbean people living with cancer. So obviously, you know, cancer is very prevalent nowadays. Do you know anyone who's been suffering with it, unfortunately?
Yes, friends, family, customers, you know, struggle with this. That is why I do what I do, to bring awareness to people.
You'll be able to go inside, network with a lot of people and just get lots of information, you know, with regards to this. And if you need any help, there's always people to contact here. Okay, so thank you everyone. Hi everyone, so I've just bumped into the lovely Sandra.
Hi, great to be here. I'm from the National Institute of Health Research. Absolutely amazing, and you know, the knowledge that's been imparted so far today will resonate with me, and I will take it away, and just really interesting to hear so many personal stories. I think you can just see by the people here and all the talk that's going on how well it's been received by people, and absolutely, if it's possible and there's funding to allow it, we should have much more of these.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Sandra. Lovely to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm really glad that this conversation has bin asked. I'm Errol McKellar, prostate cancer survivor and founder of the Errol McKellar Foundation, and the reason that we set this charity up is to answer the same question that this young lady just got up and asked. Why are we losing people to prostate cancer? Right? When this is a cancer, if it's caught early, it's treatable, but more importantly, it's curable. Yeah? If it's caught early. Now, each and every one of you, I'm going to ask you one question. You all drive a car in here, yeah? Right, so I'm an ex-mechanic and an MOT tester. So every year you come to somebody like me for what? An MOT? Right, so what's the difference? That car can't get there without the driver. So my argument is we should be doing this test once a year. The PSA is only an indicator. But what it means, it helps the medical world to define what the problem is with prostate cancer and what we do next.
Let's bring us together one more time for Errol McKellar.
Hello, good afternoon, madam. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. So please introduce yourself.
My name's Nadine. I'm part of Nines Health and Fitness Club.
Lovely.
I'm just here supporting the cause.
Lovely. And how have you found this event so far?
It's been really good, especially with my dad having prostate cancer, so this one's very close to my heart. So lots of tears.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that. So your dad had prostate cancer. Can you, if you don't mind, he had it. Sorry. Can you please explain how that had an effect on your family?
Oh my gosh, it still has an effect because he had radiotherapy and he had the actual thing removed. But it still affects him now. His walking, his erectile, everything that Errol said, my dad's got. Except the nappy thing, my dad's not got that, thank God.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thing to add to, but we love him and he's here, and that's the main thing.
The grace of God. Please, if you don't mind, tell us what have you learned from this event so far?
I've learned men need to talk.
Yes.
And if it wasn't for us, women, I don't know what they would do. Basically, they need us.
So there are a few more people. So all of these people, including Piper, and some of you sitting here at the front today, have made today possible. You have helped me to create this vision. And so anything you need today, these are the people that you go to. And if they don't know the answer, they'll direct you to someone else for a LaChasse because somebody else knows the answer. So yeah, this is a team, so hi to the team, guys. Hey. So I've got a few people like Big E, who co-host, he couldn't make it today. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to our first set of speakers. Now, one of the things I love most is community. That might be because I'm 10 or 11 children. And so I'm used to big things, and my dad would always say, you don't need any guests to have a party, there are enough people here. And so I love community, I love the whole coming together, and I love doing work in the community. And those people that are in the community, that are creative, make such a difference. And so we're going to kickstart our first conversation today. Now, one of the reasons I'm here is because there are 3 individuals actually. One of them is Errol McKellar, who's going to wave and say hi, but you're going to see him later. The other is DJ Piper, you've seen him already this morning. And the other is one of my first guests, Kevin Gallarosa, and he hosts community events in his barbershop. And so the trajectory is that I met Errol McKellar, we did an interview together, and we vowed that we would both be going to Number 10. I don't even know if we even worked out why we were going there, but we were going to go there and we were going to make some noise and I was going to get a dress, and we're still going to do that, right? But what happened from there, I then got invited to an event that Kevin was having. And what happened from there, I then met Piper. And so just in case the 3 of you didn't know, you are so instrumental into the reason that I'm here today. Give those 3 men a round of applause. And then we invite Kevin Gallarosa and Janet.
Hi everyone, good afternoon, it's Charlene Francois here, and I am at the launch of the Kojo Baden C-Word project, and I've met the lovely
Mel.
How you doing, Mel?
I'm fine, thank you.
Can I please ask you, how are you finding this event so far?
Very interesting, very, very interesting, especially when they talk about the prostate cancer. I remember one day I was saying to my son when he was 40, you need to go and get a check. And he was fussing, he goes, Mom, I don't really want to. I said, you need to go and get a check. And then eventually in the end he went. Good. And he was fine.
Good, there you go.
So I said to him, there you go. What if it was something else now?
Of course.
What would you have said to yourself? Oh, if I had known you that I should have gone, I should have listened to you, I should have gone when I should have.
Yeah.
No.
Now, unfortunately, cancer is it's very prevalent nowadays. Do you know anyone that's unfortunately had cancer?
Yes, I do. My aunt, she died of it. And right now, my son's auntie's friend, she's in a hospice right now because she's got stage 4 cancer. Yeah.
So do you feel it's very pivotal to have these kind of events?
Yes, I do.
And just tell me one thing that you've learned from today.
That men should go and check and listen to their wives, their girlfriends. It could be their aunts as well, or friends. Go and do the check.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really true. And just tell us a little bit about your business. I can see there you've got your little store selling sea moss.
Yeah, we do. We sell sea moss juices. Our juices are infused with fruits because a lot of people tend to say they don't like the taste of sea moss because it has a peculiar taste.
Yes.
And it's very slimy. So what we decided, we will infuse it with different fruits so that way when they take it in, they don't have that slimy feeling when it's been swallowed.
Lovely. And it has 92 minerals out of 102. Nice. So all the best with that. I know it's really healthy, and obviously this event is all about promoting health and well-being.
That's right.
So I might make a purchase myself.
Okay, would love you to see.
Thank you.
Asian based really appreciate it. So I'm Jonathan Noel, I'm one of the consultant surgeons at Guy's Hospital. I work at Lewisham and Greenwich as well, and I've just been asked to whiz through the C word regarding prostate. I see there's a majority of women in the room, that's not lost on me. You know, we got work to do to bring those gentlemen out here to listen, okay? Yeah? But what's powerful is that the women in here will talk to the men in their lives about what you hear today. So that's just one way of getting the message across. It is on the rise, prostate, and it's something that is near and dear to my heart from a family perspective. My family comes from Barbados, but also Grenada as well. So I am a University of West Indies, very proud graduate, trained in Barbados and Trinidad. And then I trained in London, spent a bit of time in Florida, and started 3 years ago at Guy's. And this hospital really introduced me to urology. This is a hospital in Barbados, Queen Elizabeth, 300 beds, lots of prostate cancer in the Caribbean. And you know, I was introduced to it from a urologist there, who's still working there, quite a character. But he introduced me to the novelty of urology and the technology behind it and how it can help patients recover faster. So hence my enthusiasm with technology, which I'll get into later. But I wanted to kind of give you some advice, maybe some awareness, and also not get too bogged down to research, because you can always ask me that at the break. It's more kind of snippets and take-home advice. So diet, a lot of people ask me about diet and prostate health. What can I eat to be better, doc, to prevent, etc. So the prostate is a gland that sits underneath the bladder. As men get older, it can change, it can get bigger, it can cause narrowing. And one of the patients I spoke to had told me, you know, this thing really, he's from Antigua actually, real good guy actually. And he said to me, you know, I remember growing up as a young boy, seeing lots of men just, working and complaining of stoppage of water. They can't pee, right? And they're really in pain because they can't pee and they don't want to go to the doctor. And he always remembered that growing up in the 50s and 60s, and he said, I will not be like that, I will present to the doctor. And that still happens today though, you know? It still happens today. Men, for some reason, just very fearful to talk about these kind of things, whether it's the risks of treatment to their manhood, etc. So I think earlier presentation is always better, but an informed patient and community is always better. So you've got to have more tomatoes and leafy green vegetables. They are good for the prostate, omega-3 fatty acids, your salmon, your nuts, etc. But really there's lots of research about plant-based diet. So plant-based diet has been shown, even with men with prostate cancer, to actually impact the progression of prostate cancer to a favorable stage. So all the lovely chicken, red meat, everybody likes, the lamb, etc. Try to decrease it and have more plant-based, okay? See people taking pictures, very good, I like that. PSA, everyone says, what's PSA? What's PSA? Have you had your test? What's PSA? Prostate specific antigen. Errol, I'm sure will talk about that as well. This is a blood test. And it gives us an indication as to your prostate health. So no longer is the examination, the dreaded finger, all right, that's like the C word, I'm not gonna say that, okay? So the PSA is a blood test, okay? And I saw you in the community next to a DJ saying about that. I was like, look at what Errol put. You know, the PSA test is something that will indicate if there's any disease, if it's elevated. And it's a protein expressed in the blood, and it's important that you take it at a time when the prostate is not stimulated. So whether that's through intercourse or vigorous exercise, make sure you give yourself a few days off of that and then get the blood test. Otherwise it'll be falsely elevated, and then you're going down the line of investigations that you may not necessarily need to go to. So I usually tell GPs to do 2 tests, especially if one is elevated. I hope that's clear. PSA is a good screening test, but in the UK, there is no screening program for prostate cancer. PSA is cheap, readily available, okay? And it can give a good indication. But for some reason, there is no screening program, but it's being looked at, hopefully, and the time and the tide will change. So prostate cancer is the most common cancer in men, and it is rising, and we're seeing that it's presenting with younger patients, whether that's diet related or not. So I think time is now to actually consider this as a test that needs to be done. It's 1 in 8 for men, 1 in 4 for black men. So you talk about increased incidence, well, our community is definitely at that risk, so they need to be aware of it. Otherwise, late presentation is something that we fear will become commonplace if men do not present for PSA testing. I said already, the UK says do not screen. They're worried about over-diagnosing and over-treating men and giving them all these side effects. We don't have to treat everybody. We're very good now in our secondary care hospitals at seeing which patients need treatment and which ones can be watched. Okay, 2025, we've got technology now. We don't treat everybody because we know the side effects impact your quality of care.
Thank you so much. Sometimes, you go to see a professional, and this is my experience. Well, Patricia, you've got an autoimmune disease. It isn't going to get any better. Here are these tablets. It could cause high blood pressure, low blood pressure, vomiting, diarrhea, Take these and pop downstairs, have a blood test. We'll see you in 3 months. Take care, bye-bye. That's it. It's like it feels scripted. It's not calming, it's not patient. And I find your delivery very calming, very patient, very thorough. And if you agree, give Dr. Jonathan.
Doctor, can you tell me, how have you found this event so far?
It's been inspiring. Every community event I go to has a different flavor and a different ask, but each one has a common theme, is that you are just trying to look out for your fellow man, woman, brother, sister, and that's inspiring, and that's why I keep doing this, because it's addictive now.
It is. And with cancer being so prevalent, what advice would you give to people out there who maybe perhaps have it or don't have it and need to get themselves checked out?
So if you have it, you should obviously, access the support that's provided by the NHS in terms of clinical nurse specialists. They usually provide contact numbers and details. But also I would say, patient advocacy and groups, there should be one with every disease organ. And I think that's where patients can perhaps open up about things and learn new perspectives, because as doctors and nurses, we know what the hospital offers, but it's the day-to-day living that sometimes leaves a lot of questions unanswered. So you should be asking yourself, how can I get informed? I would say patient advocacy and community groups. And if you don't have cancer, I should say be aware of your risk factors and do talk to your GP or informed loved ones who have been through the journey. Exercise is key, but diet, we live in a world where things are produced very quickly, and in order to produce things very quickly, they have to have injections of external things like hormones and chicken, meats, lots of fat content. So really plant-based is probably the best way to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And I'm not saying go full vegan, but you should incorporate more vegetables into your diet and probably less animal products. I think we eat too much meat as a population. We don't need to have meat with every meal. Incorporate more vegetables and a vegan diet, which would be healthier for you, because the fat content in these meats and the hormones in these meats is what's causing some changes in our body. So you should have some more vegetables and fruits.
How important do you think it is to have these type of events?
I think there should be many, and I think they should be all over the place. And I think it's good because some people may not be able to come for work or for fear of just coming and making themselves known. So I think the more we can do events like this, the better. Once a year is too infrequent, in my opinion.
Yes.
My name is Jean Gilks. I am a Cancer Information Officer for Cancer Black Hair. I have been doing this role for 20 years now. Cancer Black Hair was founded 30 years ago, originally in Dalston. The reason for our name, I can just do it quickly. The founder is an African gentleman. His brother had prostate cancer, and he founded the organisation from his living room after his brother passed away, and called it Cancer Black Hair because he felt there was a need within the community. What I do within the community is support people that are diagnosed with cancer, their survivors, loved ones, family and friends. We have coffee mornings and support groups. We have counselling sessions, benefit form filling, anything to do with housing, anything to do with Windrush forms and so on. There's a vast amount of benefit forms, as we all know. Blue badges, etc. Those are the sorts of things that we complete.
But basically, I just wanted to make a point that, when you're diagnosed with anything, your whole life changes in some way or the other. So many things make a difference. And so Cancer Black Hair are there to help you with just about any of those. And if they don't help you themselves directly, they will refer you. So please go and have a conversation with Jean at the Cancer Black Hair stand.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's lovely to be able to see you and have a full room of so many professionals and community and residency. Can I just get a show of hands for local residents, first of all, in the room? Such a high, be proud. We're often a combination of two. People who work in the research sector, are you here? Wonderful. Community organisers, are you here? People who are being shy. Okay, wonderful. So this message today, thank you. So I'm here. I've been working over the last 3 years on sharing the role of frontline voluntary organisations and their role in contributing to reducing poor health outcomes in African Caribbean heritage communities. And for my passion is about addressing the wide gap between the outcomes in Black communities or African heritage communities and the wider community. So my question to us is, what's stopping us from taking part in research, in health-related research, and how can the system leaders do more to value the views and to understand the barriers that residents face when they're trying to address health inequality? I don't do this job on my own. I work with my colleague, Jim Barton. We'll put your hand up, Jim. Wonderful. So we've been on a journey supporting community leaders and community organisations to help the system leaders, public health, the Integrated Care Board. There's these big bodies that commission health services. And there's a way that we can address the inequalities that we face in our community. Do you know the first way? Awareness. So you've come here today, we've heard from Ella, we've heard from Dr. Jonathan. We work with each other, we coordinate a series of events that help us to increase health awareness. And over the last, a year or so, June? 3 years, but in particular the last year, we've been heard, at last been heard, through some work with the NHS England level, through working with Imperial College, through working with the National Institute of Health Research. So I want to know how we can really ensure that our grassroots organisations and our residents have a better understanding of how to create change at system level. Now, who likes to get involved in politics or policy? Not many of us, to be honest. Why? It's dry sometimes, it takes ages, you can go to meetings and you think nothing really happens. So it's much easier to bring us together in these type of events where we can communicate. And we've found a formula that works. And I'm just going to tell you a bit about that. Instead of asking people to come out of their offices or go to mainstream offices, we're asking people to come to the community. So we call this the community in-reach approach. And have people heard about outreach? Yeah? So outreach is where the system comes out, tries to get you and brings you back in. We're saying that is not the approach. The approach is to come in to the organisations. It might be a faith group, it might be a community organisation, but go to where the community is based. Yeah? Does that sound better? Yeah? We've got a great audience today. And that's because we've adopted an in-reach approach. Patricia's organising it, it's in a setting that people know and have come to trust over time. So we're calling this the blended approach. What makes it work is the ingredients of cultural vendors, Caribbean cuisine, clinicians, council officers, community organisations in the same space. And we've been listened to. We've been listened to the extent that Brent and Harrow are leading the way to do more of this. What do you want when we're looking at this? We can do more of this in terms of having regular events. So I'm asking you, if you want more regular events, where would you like that to be? So this is some of the context. I've just given you some of that context, and I know we're short on time. So June and colleagues have been working with system leaders to tackle race inequality at system level. They've got the data, they know that there's an overrepresentation of our people in poor health outcomes. And I'm not just thinking about cancer, we're looking at broader areas of health. It could be diabetes, it could be mental health, it could be maternity services. So how can you get involved in addressing some of these big issues for the community? Any thoughts? When we start talking about policy and influencing, people kind of dry up. It's a hard thing to challenge. So what we've been talking about is acknowledging that there's a need to engage the frontline organisations. There's a need to invest in the organisations that have the trusting relationship, that's key. And we've been working, echoing the message from you about those hidden barriers. Errol talked about this in terms of some of the barriers going to the GP. So we've got system leaders to understand it may be that we need to do more with the GP. So we're really keen to hear your views about what you might be able to do. We're creating something called the African Caribbean Think Tank, where across the 8 North West London boroughs, we have leaders who are thinking strategically about how we create change, how we bring this in-reach approach more closer to the organisations, more closer to the residents that need it. So June, I think I'm going to invite you up to talk to this piece of paper. So our model is all about our intent to deliver this in-reach approach on a more regular basis. So, do you want to start, Sarah?
Did you see me shaking my head when I came up here because I wasn't supposed to speak?
I don't know if Christy, sorry. I don't know if Christy became still a black. That's like surprise. She's not talking. She doesn't want to talk, so that's why she looks stunned.
No, it's absolutely fine. I've turned up here in my flip-flops because I wanted to walk here, and now you've got me here in front of everything in the room. But no, it's absolutely fine. So I work for the Integrated Care Board. I work on behalf of you guys. We have been working for the last 2-3 years. So a couple of key messages from me. The Black community is not a project. We're here, we've been here for a long while. One of the things that we're trying to do across the system, I'm glad to see that John's here in the audience as well, and I've got my colleague Swavi here with me, is to try and make events like this more sustainable and to try and build them into the system. If you see the diversity across North West London, you know, and you look at the data and you see that there is a high incidence of people, Black, African and Caribbean people turning up at A&E for their diagnosis for cancer. That's wrong, and that should not happen. We heard about prostate cancer. What wasn't really said that loudly was that people turn up to GP and get turned away. Again, that's wrong. That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen in our system. Everyone is well versed, I'm sure, in this room about maternal deaths. And why is it that more Black women are dying from maternal deaths and babies are dying in maternity more than they should? Why is that happening? The space that we really want to get to now is, we know the whys, we know the data. It's published, we've got the insights, we've heard the African and Caribbean community talk. I'm so glad we're having this event today. I salute you, Blaze, I salute your team, because now it's time for action. So we have a race steering group across North West London. Our chief executive of the organisation chairs it, and he really genuinely wants to make a difference in our system. What we're doing in this space now is saying we don't want projects anymore. We are putting in a business case to make sure that there are 5 static community hubs or permanent community hubs across North West London, starting with 2 years of funding with the basis that they will become longer term the longer term offer within the system. We deliberately said 5 community hubs across North West London. We definitely want one in Brent, and they will be sustainable and they'll be funded by the NHS in recognition that actually the systems have failed our communities. We need to make sure that we go out to our communities. So I'm here for the rest of the day. We really, really want people to feed into what does that community hub look like, what should be in it. We want to have experts like we've heard from today come and have really frank and honest conversations, but we also want the clinical teams to come out as well. We've thrown down a challenge to some of our primary care colleagues and said, GPs, you need to come into that space as well because you need to hear from the communities directly. We don't have all the answers, but what we are desperately trying to do is maximise the opportunities that we've got now and make some sustainable change.
Let's put your hands together for Dr. Dudley.
Yeah, apologies for not being here earlier. I've been at a number of events here in communities and very good events, and we're blessed in that the rain has not fallen. First, I'd like to thank players for putting on this wonderful event. I think it's really important that we get voices in the community. As players said, for a long time we haven't had a voice. I think these are ways where we can amplify our voices and get through coverage. We're the voice of the many important people here. As I said, Jennifer Roy is here, and I'm really pleased to see Jennifer's here. She's been someone who's inspired me since I've been in Brent, and it's really good to see that in her new role that she's here to support us. And of course, we have the past mayor of Brent who's also here. So it's good to see that we have everyone here supporting us. As everyone knows, I can talk, but I'm not going to talk too long today. So I thought what I was going to talk about. So I always like to look at historical context of things, because everyone talks a lot about today, and everyone talks about where we're going. So I thought that I would talk a bit about where we have been. For those who don't know me, I'm John Linkfish. I'm Deputy Director for the Healthcare in Brent, and I'm responsible for a lot of the community work that goes on here. I'm going to skip that. I'm going to talk a bit about cancer. So we always talk about cancer. As a child, I say talk about, I want to talk about the big C, I want to talk about cancer. As a child, never heard anyone call that name. My grandfather had cancer, no one called it. It was always a C word. So there was a great mystique around it, and that continued up until when I was in medical school. So what exactly is cancer? It's basically abnormal cells growing uncontrollably and spreading to other parts of the body. It isn't one disease as we like to think. It's many different diseases because you've got different cells and they're all different. So any of these can become cancers, and that's all a cancer is. Types of cancer. So there are lots of different types of cancer. These are common ones. People are familiar with these, I suspect. Breast, lungs, stomach, ovarian, bone, brain, laryngeal, prostate, testicular. Yes? Yes. Any others people know? Blood, yes? Leukemia? Thyroid, yes? Any others? Skin, pancreatic, yes? Yes, there are many types of cancers. And before, we also, people used to think cancer was a death sentence. We're pleased to say now that there's a whole lot that we can do. We can prevent cancers, we can screen for cancers, we can get early treatment, and we can get good outcomes from the vast majority of cancers. Cancers are more common. Does anyone know why they're more common? Testing, yes, that's one reason. Yes, what? Anyone else know? Diet. The diet, yes, risk factors. There are more risk factors. Obesity, yes, there's more of that too. That is a risk factor. Any others? The environment, yes. And people are living longer. People are living longer. Although cancer is not something, you don't get old and get cancer, but you're more likely to get cancer as you get older because of the way how cells, the body tends to stop cells from becoming abnormal. But as you get older, that process doesn't work as well. So the risk for many cancers increases, but not all cancers, because children get cancers too. But as everyone pointed out, the environment is a big factor, and there are lots of modifiable things that we can do to prevent these things. So I just wanted to start, because as I said, there was a lot of mystique around cancer, so I always like to try and break down it. People, thousands of years ago, they were talking about cancer. They're diagnosing breast cancer in the time of the ancient Egyptians. We started with X-rays back in the 1800s, and then we were looking at genetics of cancers almost 100 years ago. So there's a lot that's been known about cancers, but whether that translates into practice is another thing. And as well, we were talking about viruses cause cancers as well too, which again, that was something which not much was talked about. So a lot of work has been done in cancers in the past 30 to 40 years to try and improve outcomes. For a long time, cancer outcomes in this country were very poor. Do you know the outcomes? How many people living were very, very poor? Anyone know why they were poor?
Late diagnosis?
Late diagnosis, excellent. You need to get a job in you. Anyone else? Treatment. Yeah, treatment wasn't very good, yeah? Any other reasons? People were presenting very late. Yeah? Why were they presenting late? Well, sometimes they were always presenting late, as was pointed out earlier, June was pointing out earlier, sometimes you couldn't get past your GP to present. And people weren't presenting, actually sometimes people were dying, and they were being diagnosed on autopsy. So a whole lot was done to improve the diagnosis of cancer 20 years ago. And cancer outcomes improved substantially in this country. Unfortunately, there are certain groups who didn't improve a lot for. Do we know who they are? Black people, yes. Anyone else?
Asian people.
Asian people, yes. Their outcomes are not good, yeah. And poorer people generally. The outcomes are not poor. So a lot of outcomes increased. These outcomes for our communities, not these with ours, didn't necessarily improve. So I always go back to history. Now, anyone who knows me, I love history, is what I was going to do. And I always go back in our community, always go back to the time of slavery. Because slavery had left a big indentation on lots of things that happened in us in our community. Tobacco and alcohol were things that were introduced at the time of slave trade. They were made alcohol, rum, as everyone knows, we make rum. Barbados, the home of rum, makes the best rum, he says. Does anyone disagree? Yeah. Don't talk about Appleton, yeah? Mouthfeel, that's it. Yeah, so there you have it. So from a long time we were exposed to rum, yes, because we made it in sugar plantations. And tobacco, many of the Cuba and other countries use tobacco. So from a very long time we were exposed to carcinogens from an extent that we shouldn't have been. Then everyone knows this, and you remember the cigarette adverts. Does everyone remember these? Yeah. I remember as a child, I'm sure my age, we used an advert, and the man says, happiness is a car for happiness. Everyone remember that? Yeah. Everyone remembers it at a certain age. And that's how good the marketing was, yes. That's how good the marketing was. I can remember that, and all of us remember that. It was excellent marketing. It was marketing us to our deaths, yeah? So all of this marketing was done. They're very good at, as I said, you can find out they're very good when it comes to selling us things that are not good for us. So all of these exposures, what I'm saying is that we have lots of other exposures and reasons why, and legacy is why we have poor outcomes in relation to cancer. So just a few myths or facts. Cancer, can you catch it? No. What do old people get cancer? Exercise can lower your risk of cancer recurrence.
Yes. Yes.
Many cancers are treatable and curable, especially when found early.
Yes.
If I don't talk about it, it will all go away. Chemotherapy will make me lose all my hair.
Not always.
No, not always. And if no one in my family has cancer before, then I won't have it either. No. Because not all cancers have a genetic element, as we pointed out, a lot of them are related to environmental issues. Very good. Now, I want to talk a bit here about something, and this is Blaze's world. As a doctor, we're trained to talk about cancer, we're trained about drugs and side effects and operations and treatments and everything. But you don't necessarily spend a lot of time talking about what I call the psychosocial impacts of cancer. Here, Macmillan does a lot of work in that, and up until recently, Macmillan didn't do much work in our communities. And our communities are quite different. And cancer is a long-term condition. It affects all parts of your life. It doesn't only affect you, it affects everyone that is in your house. It affects the people you work with, it affects your friends, it affects everyone. So, and that's not something that people prepare you for, people talk about, and in fact, traditionally you haven't talked about it, so it's good to have these conversations. So, just put in four categories here: the spiritual side of things, yes? The uncertainty, the loss of hope, loss of spirituality, what's your purpose in life, how does God fit into it? All these are questions that are asked when people get cancer. Then there's social, there's fear, there's loss of work, you can be off sick. If you're off sick, what's going to happen? Your boss will not give you time to go to medical appointments. When you go for a new job, what do they ask for? How many days sickness, how many days absence? Distressing your family. Why are you going to the hospital? You're being sick, you're not fulfilling the roles that you're doing. Economic hardship, because you're no longer working or you're taking time off of work, to get appointments, to get treatment. Relationships, it's distress, it takes a toll on relationships. Both intimate relationship and with your children with other people, because it can often change your personality and how you look at the world and how you view things. Impact on sexuality and fertility. Then on the psychological nature, which people are more familiar with, anxiety and distress. Because it's often distressing times, distressing things to think about. Depression, this loss of control. You've planned your life, you're organized, you've done everything right, you're doing all the right things, you're exercising, you're doing everything right. And all of a sudden someone says, this condition now, you need to do this. So it takes a big toll on you. And there's loss of attention because you're always thinking about it. Changing appearance. You're looking fine and pretty and dandy. And all of a sudden you're not anything going down the road. And the feeling of uselessness, you can't do anything about it. And then there's physical things that our doctors will tell you about. The pain, the nausea, fatigue, the tiredness, constipation, loss of appetite. So you can see this has a wide impact on your whole being. This has nothing to do with the diagnosis of the type of cancer that you have. So this is a wide impact on you and everyone around
you. You will also find slave ports on the west coast of Africa, Kunta Kinte Island in Gambia, Gorée Island in Dakar, Senegal. I went on such a trip to Gorée Island. This was my day. And this poem is called The Sweat of the Understated. If hell is this cold, I'll be a rover, to stray far away from this punishing day. But to go through it all I adjust as my must. Earth is earth and dust, birth and rest, yet here I stand unsettled in this awning of dirt. This yearn that awaits my so painful, the hurt. Shiva asks this question, time of day? No answer. Distance of voices dare me, grow, or dare stray. No door, no score, not now no more. Freedom is mine, though feet be so stilled. Breath from buried depth, oh, is this breath mine? Sounding heavy as soul's anchor to time. It's heaving, it's mine. 400 years plus await me. I've seen the cannons in line. Pointed out to sea. Pointed out to deck ship with demon fire and sear of metal. Pointed out to sea. Pointed like lazy slugs. Like rostering truth on which to climb. For natives, revelers, and travelers inclined. But now, it's dread, it's stench, or it's me. Yes, hell, I enter frozen, 28 degrees of heat. This is where the men were kept. This where forever slept, as sacks flung from near and wide, loads to hand over as reared and wept, fatal if defied. Not too far, but far too near, the women and children shriek. Not too far, but far too near, the tainting straight of the gate as creak. The tainting of screams as speech. The vomits of bile compete. This useless of manly muscle, so wasted in prime. The sweat of the understated pebbles.
madam. What's your name?
Jean Jilts from Cancer Black Hair.
Lovely to meet you. I love your t-shirt and I love your outfit. Can you give us a twirl, please? You look lovely. Can I please ask you, how are you finding the event so far?
It's been very informative, very informative. It's very good.
Yeah.
And people are so friendly.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been
And
very
what have
nice.
you learned from this event so far?
Well, a lot to do with prostate cancer, which is one of the main topics, I should say.
Yes.
Yeah, and just meeting and greeting other people. Yeah, it's been nice, networking.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Have a lovely time. And I have the one, the only John Licorice.
Hi Charlene, thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. There's a wonderful venue, lots of wonderful people. Yeah.
And I must say, your presentation was really informative and lovely.
Yes, thanks. I think it's really important when we look at the history of things. We really have to know where we've come from, why things are where they are. The world didn't start yesterday. The problems we have with regard to inequalities and racism didn't start yesterday. They started hundreds of years ago.
And John, can you please tell me, where do you work? What do you do?
I'm the Deputy Director of Public Health at Brent, so which means I'm responsible for the health and well-being of the community in Brent. I'm responsible for reducing the gap in health between people who have good health and people who don't have good health. I'm also responsible for the outreach, or in-reach as we like to call it, programs now, and hence that's why you see me so much in this role.
Yeah, and you mentioned like different contributing factors for the reasons as to why people are getting cancer. What would you say is the main leading one? Would you say it's more diet? There's different things, isn't there? What would you say it is?
There are few things. As I said, once people are living longer, so if we don't live long, you wouldn't get cancer. If we all die at 20, we wouldn't get cancer. So the fact we're living long is a good thing. That's the first point to make. But there are lots of exposures, and exposures are largely things that we could control. Diet is a very big factor. Alcohol consumption is a very big factor. Tobacco, whether we're smoking it or whether we're chewing it, is another big factor. The exposures that we have around us, the air that we breathe, the environmental factors. Yes, we're in London, the environment's not very good. That's a big factor.
Yes.
So there are a number of things. The fact that we get sedentary means we don't exercise as much. Of course. Exercise is a big factor
it is.
in
I love
reducing the risk of cancer. So there are a number of these things. And as I said, it depends on what type of cancer, but these are the big ones that we need to consider.
And what would you say is the main cancer nowadays? Because I know there's various types: lung cancer, bowel cancer, prostate cancer.
You've got lots of them. As I said to you, there are many cancers, and I think that the big ones I like to say, as opposed to just one, the big ones you like to point to are for ladies. I think breast is the big one. It's important. We've got a screening program about that which you'll be aware of, and cervical, which is another big one when it comes to ladies. Then when it comes to men, of course, prostate is a massive one, particularly in our black community. And then we've got other cancers, which, as you said, lung, which is related to cigarette smoking, although many cancers are related to cigarette smoking. So these are some of the big ones, and bowel, and that's largely related
cervical. We haven't mentioned
cervical and bowel, which is related to our diet. So those are some of the big ones. There are many more, but those are some of the big ones that we can do something about.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Jonathan. I mean, as I said, it was very informative. I've learned a lot today as well. So, I will be taking home a lot of, information and just spreading the word, really. That's what this event is all about. Spreading the word, spreading awareness and just trying to protect ourselves in the best way that we can. So thank you very much, and you have a lovely day.
Thank you, Shirley.
You take care. And there you have it, everyone. We have now come to the end of the Kojo Baden C-Word project. This has been the launch, and it has been a lovely turnout. So many people coming together, so many lovely speeches. We've had poetry, we've got lovely food here, and it's just been a lovely vibe today. So it's been very sad. Of course, no one wants to hear about their loved ones having cancer or even passing away of cancer. But today's event has been all about spreading awareness and, learning what we can do to prevent this. So So, this is Chalk Hill Community Radio. My name is Charlene Francois. Please do give us a follow. We are here, as you can see, Chalk Hill Community Radio. If you want to go to the website, it's www.chalkhillcommunityradio.com. We do so much here. You can do podcasts, you can have your own radio show. We do many events, and there's so much more to come. So feel free to give us a follow. It's Charlene Francois, everyone. Look after yourselves, and always remember to look after your barnet. See you later.